So very interestingly, 33 hours exactly after the vile, disgusting assassination of Charlie Kirk, the FBI and local police forces apprehend the suspect. Tyler Robinson, some puny, vile piece of shit, hailing from a conservative background. He was the only leftist in the family. His grandmother said that he'd never shot a gun in his entire life, and I couldn't even imagine him shooting one. He's an Antifa leftist, radicalized by the media. We got him. No more questions, right? So I'm going to caveat my opinion here by saying that I 100% agree that left-wing media has indoctrinated the minds of so many of the youth of today. 100%. Just look around. Every city, every town, every country, they are absolutely destroyed, believing in 50 genders and climate change, and we gotta accept everybody into the country, and there's no such thing as violent crime or disparity of races and all this type of craziness, right? We get it. We have seen the left-wing media talk ad nauseum about fascism, about Nazis, every pejorative known to man, and directing it towards everybody who is slightly right of the centre. Absolute insanity.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
And we're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
And after what has happened, it is unbelievably gratifying to see the left get called out for their absolutely gross behaviour. So I'm all for that. And I totally understand that Tyler Robinson could have been one of these radicalised kids who went out there and shot Charlie Kirk, who was the biggest right-wing influencer out there with people under the age of 30. His influence was insane. People loved what he was doing. What I'm saying is, on a number of different levels and facets, I just don't believe this story. I just don't believe it. There is way too many questions. If we're going down the route of talking about Tyler Robinson, I just don't believe the official story. Simple as. I don't believe that he broke down the gun, put it in his backpack, ran over, jumped off a building, made his way into a forest, put the gun back together, left it there with a bunch of messagings and breadcrumbs for the FBI to get him. I don't believe it. And if we're believing what the FBI say in terms of how they contradicted themselves, talking about our brilliant police force and we're unbelievable at what we do, we got him in 33 hours. Random number, by the way.
In less than 36 hours. 33 to be precise.
With all due respect, what the fuck are you talking about?
And also in the same breath saying that we would never have actually gotten him, only for his father handed him into a local police station.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
None of that makes sense. Coupled with the fact that we have people running distraction in the crowd in front of Charlie Kirk. People like this George Zinn guy who got arrested for, I guess, distracting the audience and the security members from Tyler Robinson, who was up on the roof.
We don't know if it's him or not.
This guy has a dodgy, strange past. He was an eyewitness to the 9/11 attacks. Random. The guy was arrested for emailing in fake bomb threats a couple of weeks after the Boston bombing. And then we see him showing up at the Charlie Kirk assassination, causing a huge kerfuffle, distracting from Tyler Robinson, who was up on the roof, perpetrating one of the best marksman's shots that you could imagine from a guy who never touched a gun or never shot a gun or never been to a gun range, according to his grandmother. So if we're believing that George Zinn was a distraction for Tyler Robinson, then who is Tyler Robinson a distraction for? That's what I'm asking. And it's probably an unpopular opinion and people are calling it conspiracy theories, but I like to ask questions. And of course, you have to ask the question of Benjamin Netanyahu, who most people understand to be a complete genocidal lunatic. Cool, everybody knows that. What the hell is this guy doing? How come this is a conversation now that has made it into the mainstream media, who are again running propagandized gaslighting tactics to try shut people down, calling it a ridiculous conspiracy theory? Benjamin Netanyahu is currently partaking in about 8 wars that his small peaceful country have started, and he takes the time to jump over onto Fox News a couple of hours after the death of Charlie Kirk to talk about how good their friendship was, and to let people know that the sudden change in direction recently of Charlie Kirk's rhetoric towards Israel, in terms of the questions that he asked, in terms of pushing back against that state and what they do.
Jewish Democrats or Jews in general are going to have to make a decision. Until you crush the cultural Marxist lens of which they view the world, you will never actually be able to build support for Israel. That Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who is obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, and Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. We've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, so maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse.
Has nothing got to do with his death, because that's a conspiracy. And guess who's responsible? You guessed it, extreme Muslims. That's who Benjamin Netanyahu went on Fox News yesterday and said was responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk. Extreme Muslims.
Extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra-progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies, whether it's President Trump, who's been...
So you have the mainstream media telling us that extreme Muslims are responsible for Charlie's death, and they tell us that extreme left-wing Antifa type people are responsible for Charlie's death. Of course, all of this is possible, especially the leftists, because they're absolutely nut jobs. But one angle that is getting shut down real quick, that shouldn't be talked about and is not allowed to be talked about, is the correlation between Charlie Kirk, who has been funded by Israel for a long time, and suddenly starts to question them. Suddenly starts to think, I'm not too sure about what's going on over there, and I'm not too sure about their involvement in 8 or 9 wars, which they're actually starting under the veil of we are being threatened by people in sandals. So Charlie started asking questions, and people that are very close to him said that he was actually worried about the fracturing relationship between himself and old Benji.
But he was one of the only people to go to the Oval Office and say, sir, I totally understand and think Iran's really bad, but a war with Iran is not, is something that could really hurt our country. I mean, boy, that was an unpopular position. He took massive abuse from his own donors, which is also something that you don't see. And they expressed it to him in a very intense way. I know because he showed me.
In that way, too, he was the voice of young people. I mean, there are no young people in the country anymore supporting this war and wanting Israel to continue its bombing campaign. That's just the truth. Look at the polls. And he was in touch with them. And even where his own opinion may have differed from their opinion, he felt like he owed it to them to bring their message to the sitting president of the United States. I mean, that's what's been snuffed out.
He would say, I love whoever I'm talking about, but I think this is wrong. It's immoral. It's bad for everybody involved, both sides. And he would say that, and he could say that because it was sincere. It was completely sincere, but I cannot overstate the amount of attacks he took privately over this, absolutely for real. It was brave, but loving at the same time. And I'm not sure he made a lot of headway, by the way. I mean, I think he made real enemies in doing that, but his view didn't change. Anyway.
All of a sudden, Benji's in the United States and he's running cover saying that they're best friends. And he's reading out letters from Charlie Kirk, praising him and judo Christianity and all this type of stuff. Can we get the actual letter? Can we see exactly what transpired? Apparently there was money offered, there was more support offered, and Charlie wasn't interested. I think that that's a completely valid line of questioning to put out there. And especially with everything that we've just saw, I think that people should open their minds a little bit more and start looking in all avenues. No matter what happens in the aftermath of this horrific event, sympathies have to go out to Charlie Kirk's wife and his family and his young children, and to the millions of people we've seen the outpouring of love for him. It's been unbelievable, and I think everything has changed after this event. I think the moderates that followed Charlie Kirk are going to take a hard turn. Whether you believe the mainstream narrative of Tyler Robinson, whether you believe the fringe conspiracy theory of Benjamin Netanyahu being involved in this in some way, shape or form, or whether you believe it was the US government or the Republican Party themselves instigating this to start that race war, to have the people more ardently hating the left, doesn't matter which narrative it is. All of them make sense and all of them are abhorrent in terms of if it's the left and if it's Antifa and if it's because they were radicalized by the mainstream media, that's gross and we all know it and see it now. And a lot more people have been awakened to it. And if it's old Benji with his intelligence agency who are known for these type of tactics pulling it, light has been shone on them as well. And everything else that falls in between these two stools, of course it's good to shed light on all of it. And as I said covering this story previously, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk.